What's cracking, traders? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. And in today's video, we're taking a look at a strong team brought to us from the GreatRandino in the Championship Cup that is going to be featuring 3 of the top meta Pokemon and could be a really strong climbing team. This trainer is going to be throwing Dewgong in the back of this team. They're claiming to us, and we're going to be able to see in today's video, hopefully, that if you arrange a shield advantage for the Dewgong, it can do very well into most end games. And, of course, we have to be pairing it with the ever-present Oranguru that is on pretty much also every other team, and Turtonator. Now, this trainer is opting for the Incinerate. I have seen from Home Slice Henry that Ember is also the way. I think it's a preference thing if you like the farm and the kind of clunkiness but overwhelming damage and energy gains from that Incinerate, or if you just like Ember for the quick energy generation. Both are fine, but up to preference. Anyway, let's see how GreatRandino's are getting this Dewgong to sweep teams in the championship. We're going to see a Cofagrigus in the first game here. This is a little bit of an awkward lead, but we have the Brutal Swings, and we're going to throw it right away here. Incinerate plus Brutal Swing into any of these ghost types is absolutely just menacing, and you can bring in a Oranguru here. Now, the opponent will have Dark Pulse, and this is probably going to do quite a bit of damage, but because they are going to be running the Shadow Claw as their fast move, they don't really have any other way to do damage, so they're going to be going for the Dark Pulse. Cofagrigus is a really fun Pokemon. I used to run it a lot back in the day when it was a little bit newer to the game. The opponent going to go down a shield so they can get this last Dark Pulse off. GreatRandino's ready to let that go and just say, you know what, I'm saving it for the Dewgong. So we're going to see the Turtonator come in, look to try and get this farm down. Goodra comes in here, and unfortunately, the switch clock's not quite up yet. But Goodra, however, is going to be able to get to a charge move, and so is the Turtonator going to be able to throw a Dragon Claw right away here, not opting to go for any other Incinerates or anything, normal energy, just going straight for that Dragon Claw, get that final shield off the opponent, and then in comes Dewgong to start going to work. The opponent is getting a lot of damage taken off of them from these Ice Shards, and Dewgong's happy enough to... Sludge Wave, hello? Trainer, that's supposed to be a Thunder Punch. Either way, let's assume that was a Thunder Punch. We're going for the Aqua Tail, or the Icy Wind here. The opponent has a shield, or no shields left, but the Dewgong running really low. This might come up down to Turtonator to be able to win this game. Going to be going for the Drill Run here to do some good chip damage here. Turtonator is available to swap in now at any point. The opponent over farming here, knowing that they need a move, but now Cofagrigus comes in looking to try and make a catch, but the opponent's just going to catch these hands, and a great big ball of fire going straight for the Dragon Claw here, looking to do hefty damage onto the Dewgong before we just get to him. No, the opponent throws immediately, trying to take the energy away from the Turtonator, but unfortunately, they're just gonna... Well, nope, the shield gets... Okay, that's fine. We have a Drill Run loaded. Who was worried? We're gonna be able to get this Drill Run off, and that is not enough damage. That's... Oh my god, if the opponent had just thrown a fast move there, that would have actually spelled doom and destruction for the GreatRandino's Dewgong, but because the opponent throws that charge move, they're gonna be able to get the farm down. Good game. Well played. In the next game, we're gonna have... Dude, the 2200 Elos have some wild stuff, and honestly, I am so here for it, bro. Chandelure is such a flex. That is a Giga Chad Pokemon. You don't come in with Chandelure unless you're ready to mess someone's day up, man. Oranguru is going to come in here and doing a massive amount of damage per confusion. Chandelure is not a bulky Pokemon, very attack-weighted. Flame Charge, however, going to do quite a lot here, and GreatRandino is just going straight for this Brutal Swing, not going to give the opponent a chance to throw another move because that would force a shield, and they don't want to force shields. Now, the opponent puts both shields down on the Chandelure. GreatRandino is going to be forced to put a shield down themselves. Flame Charge, not going to be doing any damage through the shield, but going for the Trailblaze here as the opponent now brings in a Dewgong, and having energy on the Oranguru here, this Trailblaze is going to do super effective damage and do quite a bit of it at that. The opponent is going to be able to get to a charge move here. GreatRandino is going to let it go, trusting in the Dewgong. Their ace Pokemon. That is the ace up their sleeve. And in comes the Dewgong to start getting its energy here, and really doesn't have to worry about taking this energy like the Turtonator does, but the opponent over farms here, and that allows the Dewgong to get to a Drill Run. Now, the opponent is going to have to throw a Drill Run, but this is that's a nasty farm down, and they have to come in for the Dragonair. They're not going to be able to survive those Ice Shards. They're going to get farmed down. Dragonair's a sitting duck in the back. Dewgong locking down this Dragon matchup, doing huge damage and getting the knockout. Now we have Turtonator, and that Chandelure is still in the back. The opponent not going to be able to get to a move, and the opponent is going to concede the game. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Next game, Turtonator on the lead here versus Oranguru. This is a better matchup if you have Ember for sure, but we're going to end up seeing Turtonator still do fine in this matchup. Now, we're going to be looking to go for 3 Incinerates. The opponent actually looks to make a catch on their Talonflame. Interestingly enough, Dewgong probably comes in here and does something. Yeah, Dewgong's going to come in here. You're going to do a lot of damage with the ice shards. Opponent is at a charge move, but, I mean, you don't have to worry about it, right? They're not going to Brave Bird us here. There's no way they would drop their defense like that, at least this early. Maybe they would, dude. I've been Brave Birded at the most random times. But Turtonator is going to be happy to... Well, I'm a bit Turtonator, but there's probably an Oranguru in the back. So Turtonator is going to be happy enough to be on that. There it is. That's where I was. My brain was like, whoop, came back. All right. But anyway, if for any reason you don't have any of the Pokemon that are on this team and you want to try something a little different, basically, as long as you're running some mix of Gyarados, Turtonator, Dewgong, Oranguru, and... Isn't that the list? I was playing these I was playing this cup on stream the other day, and I had a Home Slice Henry in my voice chat. He was trying to help demoldify me because I was losing my mind at the amount of just terrible plays and bad matchups I was getting. Like I'd play a team like this without the Dewgong. By the way, Togekiss was on like every it's ridiculous. Como and Togekiss when the entire like I had Gyarados instead of the Dewgong. It was a team I was playing. And I kept seeing things that wall it, and I was like, are you kidding me? But he was telling me that this meta really revolves around like 4 or 5 top meta picks, and then everything else he's mentioned is basically just like RPS waiting to happen. So I get it. I completely get it, and I'm down with it. I mean, I could not get the matchups internalized into my brain in time to be able to make a good climb, which is why you saw me hit it in the American Master League, which I'm okay with, quite honestly. Opponent's going to have a Dusclops come in, but Oranguru is just loaded on energy, and it's going to be able to throw these Brutal Swings. Opponent forced to shield. By the way, we're almost at a 3rd Brutal Swing. That is nasty work. The Monkey putting down the law here. Brutal Swing, going to do it into both the Dusclops and the Oranguru. The opponent's going to concede here. Well played to the opponent. Next game, we got Altaria on the... Oh, no. That is awkward. All right, so Oranguru probably wants to come in at some point, doing a lot of damage with these Dragon Breaths. Yeah, I see it. So in comes the Altaria, or in comes the Oranguru to try and get this Altaria to, like, get out of here. You want to eventually put the Dewgong on this, ideally, but the opponent's going to be able to go for a charge move here. And honestly, going for the Brutal Swing makes sense, because you want to get some chip damage off on this thing. Trailblaze isn't going to do anything, and they're not likely to shield anyway. The opponent is going to be staying in to go for another charge move here, and Oranguru's like, all right, bet. We're going to go ahead and let this go. Oranguru is not going to get taken out, nor is the Dragon Breath going to be enough to knock out. So we're going to be able to get to another Brutal Swing, and Oranguru is going to be able to put a little bit of pain into this Altaria. And you just got to hope that Turtonator cooks in the back, man. Dewgong probably comes in here, looks to get this farm down. The opponent is going to be throwing in their Dusclops here, and Turtonator comes in, absorbs a Shadow Punch as well. Very nice swap to catch the move. Shadow Punch... not going to do a lot, but it does enough to be dangerous, I'll say. It does. It gets you close to half. Now you got to start considering shielding Shadow Punches, which that just never feels good. Opponent, however, is going to be looking to immediately shield that Brutal Swing. They don't want any of this noise, but Shadow Punch does leave the Turtonator with a little bit of HP. It's sitting in the red. Turtonator's going to be looking to throw his Brutal Swing, maybe get the final shield. No, the opponent's going to go ahead and let that go. And in comes Dewgong, looking to go for another charge move. The Icy Wind is being tossed here. Going to do a nice bit of damage. Would take out. No, just not enough to take out the bulky Dusclops. Oh, but they had an attack drop. They don't have Poltergeist, right? No, they have Shadow Punch. Dude, I would be waiting for somebody to hit me with the Shadow Punch Poltergeist Dusclops. It's going to happen to be one of these days. It probably already has. Icy Wind gets a very nice attack drop here. The opponent, unfortunately, by swapping out, offers up some extra energy to the Dewgong, and that is going to seal their fate here because a Shadow Talonflame is not quite going to have a good time here. Going for that Icy Wind right away. Also going to be able to take a little bit less damage off the Incinerate because of the 3-turn fast move. The damage has not registered. Now in comes... or no, there goes the... Ooh, wait a minute. This is going to be close. No, Turtonator's going for it. Is this a farm? Oh my god, he lives on 1 HP, bro! Oh, nice! Game's going too fast for me to even keep up with it, man. Man just goes for the farm down. That's it. That's it. That's the game. All right, next game in. We got Glalie on the lead, and these Incinerates are ripping it asunder. Half HP already, but unfortunately throwing on 3 Incinerates is a error in this matchup because the opponent gets a full free rollout, and that's not ideal. But we're going to see the Oranguru and Altaria simultaneously swap in and face each other on the field of battle, and man, I bet Randino's just kicking himself right now, wishing he just waited just one more instance to go for this swap, because the opponent having Altaria, that was prime real estate for the Dewgong to come in and just do some work. Now, unfortunately, Dewgong is sitting in the back, and we don't know if it's going to have a good matchup in the back or not. But Altaria is going to get hit pretty hard here by these Brutal Swings and Confusions, getting left low. Oranguru is going to be looking to let the Sky Attack through, and now the Dewgong comes in to get energy, I'm sure, right? Come on, energy. Yep, there's Dewgong. In comes the Dewgong, gets the farm down. 2 Ice Shards advantage. But that Glalie a problem, man. Now, gonna end up trying to shield up the... who baits with an avalanche, bro? That's diabolical, that bait. Just throw the Shadow Ball. It's like 1 extra rollout, man. Shadow Ball is going to do quite a bit here. CMP tie. Oh, I'm in shambles, man. I've had that happen to me. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's a very obvious bait at that point that, like, oh yeah, they're probably going to try to, you know, throw the... What, man? Kills me. I can't, man. I just can't. Anyway, I would have definitely looked to throw here, and I think that might be a critical misplay there by Randino, looking to let that Icy Wind stay stored. We could permanently drop the attack of this opponent, and though they have Ice Punch, Shadow Punch would still be good here, but the opponent is gonna... Oh, they get to the move just 1 turn before, and unfortunately that Icy Wind debuff we would have had comes back to bite us. Now, GreatRandino is unfortunately going to need 2 charge attacks to be able to knock this out. The opponent might no shield here. And no, they shield, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Well, we've seen how much damage the Icy Wind does. Unfortunately, not going to be enough here. But either way, very well played. We learn from the mistakes. We don't bother highlighting them unless there's a reason to learn from it, right? So Drill Run's going to do slightly more damage, but it's not going to be enough here. And just 1 Ice Shard is all we would have needed. Man, that is unfortunate. Well played. Good game. All right, Turtonator. Oh, no. Oh, bro, we're cooked. There's the Gyarados. Goes for a 1 Incinerate and then swaps into this Oranguru. Now, the opponent's on a Shadow Gyarados. They're going to throw the Crunch here. That's going to do a ton of damage, dude. Shadows are not supposed to be eligible in this cup, but our, you know, gaming corporate overlord Scopely decided that they did not have time before the cup went live to actually properly whitelist or whatever list the Shadows. And while I was talking to Home Slice in the stream the other day, he mentioned that they might actually have to, 1 by 1, add them to the list, which is going to take a long time. And I mean, for me, it's just like, you guys should have done that before when the cup was announced. I don't know why wait till the last minute. I hope that they learn from the mistake, although, come on, let's be real. It probably will do the same thing again next time we get a new cup. Anyway, if we get a new cup at this rate. Icy Wind, dude. What? Why? No. 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 Oh, this is painful. Stop throwing double resisted baits, trainers. Draw Run still knocks out despite the Icy Wind. And then comes Oranguru. And even though this Dewgong's got an attack drop, oh, the CMP lost. Free Ice Shard, no. And they're on foul play. So, if you're the Oranguru, by the way, you definitely want to be on Brutal Swing Trailblaze. That's the most efficient moveset for the Oranguru. Foul Play is nice because it has better pacing than it used to. However, it unfortunately does not offer the same amount of efficiency for the energy cost that it has. Oh, the Dragon Breath Snipe down, no. Colin would say, oh, it's our only chance. Oh, it's a Crunch. Okay, good thing you didn't listen to me, man. Excuse me. But unfortunately, that shield gets dropped on this Crunch, and the opponent lets that go. But Oranguru is going to be able to get this farm down here, unfortunately. It looks like the Oranguru is just too much for the Dewgong. And Dewgong's not looking too good here. The opponent's going to be going for the charge move. Doesn't matter what move this is. This is going to be enough to get a knockout. And Dewgong goes down. Good game. Well played. Going for some redemption into the next matchup, and we have a Glalie on the lead here. And GreatRandino is looking to rip this thing in half with these Incinerates. They hit so hard. Brutal Swing's going to do super effective damage. And Dewgong does well in this matchup, but it absolutely has to be careful of the Rock Tomb. And so it looks like the GreatRandino is going to be looking to go for another Incinerate. And then the opponent can throw a Rock Tomb here. I don't know if... Man, I wonder if the Brutal Swing would have been the way to go there. But either way, we're going to be looking to see the Oranguru look to go for good timing here. 2 Confusions into the Brutal Swing, doing super effective damage against the Claydol. I do like that they were throwing the Brutal Swings here, but the opponent looking to shield up that move. I mean, they just really want some value out of this Claydol. Rock Tomb is not quite... Oh, dude. Claydol not pulling its weight here. The 1 HP survived by the Oranguru, getting in a little bit more of this damage. Now in comes the Turtonator, is going to be looking to go for a brutal swing. The opponent's out of shields and out of time. This is going to be a knockout here, and whatever the opponent's got in the back, well, it better be able to deal with something here with 2 shields. The opponent could bring in that Glalie, as it would be able to get to a charge move, I'm pretty sure, before the Turtonator gets that full Incinerate through based on what they had before, but the opponent's going to go for the move. Now, Randino's like, bait me again, see what happens, but this trainer actually throws the correct move. Now, going for the Ice Shards here, ideally you want to go for 3 into 2 Incinerates here, but the opponent has a Turtonator, and they're down shields, and they have stopped tapping. Okay, excellent. So, awesome display of sportsmanship here by this trainer. Dewgong going to be looking to go for the full farm down, 2 shields up, and you know what's going to be faster? Swap into the Turtonator. They stop tapping. Incinerate, please. Oh, no, we're throwing throw runs. How was your day today, trainers? I hope you're having a good one. Let me know in the comments what meta you're playing this week while we wait for the drill run and the Turtonator. Come on! We're still here looking at this Glalie, bro. Okay, game, come on. All right, there we go. All right, look. We take a win however we can get it. Good game. What do you know, the game giveth and the game taketh. And by the way, speaking of the game taketh, here's a Dragonair lead, which is not ideal. We're going for that 1 Incinerate advantage. I like that's very interesting that Randino's not instant switching every time they see a bad lead. They actually stay in, go for 1 Incinerate to have some energy for later, and then swap into the Oranguru. And I think that's actually really smart, because energy on pretty much any of these Pokemon is going to be very usable in this meta. Now, we're going to go for the 1 Confusion and the Incinerate, knowing that that Incinerate's not going to be quite enough to get the knockout, but it's very close. The opponent here is going to have to shield, and you get the confusion damage in from that Incinerate going through. Now it's a question of what comes in. I think Incinerate, okay. I was actually thinking Turtonator, but I like the Dewgong coming in here to be able to start getting hit energy. The opponent full sends that Brave Bird, and the Ice Shard's going to be enough. Turtonator would have probably not appreciated. Oh, bro, no. Oh, the Annihilape is here. That's an Annihilape. That is pain and suffering is what that is. Pain and suffering, the Pokemon. And Incinerates are ripping this thing up, but unfortunately, the counters are just adding up just as fast. And you just gotta hope. You just gotta hope you get this matchup. Oh man, Dragonair's gonna come back in. Dewgong is doing pretty okay for itself on energy, but the opponent's gonna be able to get this final Protect Shield with the Aqua Tail. Does the opponent respect this Dragon Claw? They can. They get a lot of energy. Man, Dewgong comes in, gets to the Icy Wind, and it's gonna be good enough to be able to take a very large chunk of this Dragonair's HP out, but not quite enough. The opponent, however, not going to be able to get the farm down. Dragonair goes down, and in comes the Annihilape. Now it's all up to the Turtonator. Is it going to be able to get to the move? Yes! No, dude! It was so close. It was so close. Good game. It was so close, man. Oranguru in the lead in the next game, and we're going to be looking to probably play this out and take advantage of the fact this is a pretty positive matchup. The opponent, however, is going to be on the wrong side of timing for this first move, but as we've seen from Home Slice's video with Ember, and you can see his Oranguru playing out those matchups, you're actually not having a great time as the Turtonator in this matchup. Otherwise, if you just kind of have to farm down. Now, the opponent does go for the correct play here by going for this Brutal Swing to make sure that they're able to get the shield advantage, but Turtonator has a lot of energy to run around with now, and Claydol is going to come in and take this Brutal Swing. Very nice, not throwing that Incinerate because of how low they were, and now the opponent is going to be up against the Oranguru here. Now is going to be looking to go for the Brutal Swing. The opponent not going to be able to get to that Rock Tomb before Oranguru is able to lock in this Brutal Swing at full power. The opponent, however, knows it's going to be a pretty low damage move. Claydol's pretty bulky, and they're going to go ahead and let it go. The Rock Tomb is going to do a bit of damage here, and now in comes the Celio. Celio is going to have to get to a charge move here. Is the Body Slam enough? I don't know that it is. And Oranguru has a choice to make. It is going to go for the Trailblaze and immediately throw it here. And here's the nice thing about Dewgong is it is double resisting the Powder Snows from the Celio, and we're able to put a pretty massive chunk of the HP bar. A massive chunk into the HP bar, my goodness. Oh man, it's late. My brain's failing, but we're gonna keep plowing through this as we do, man. Because Body Slam is the only move here that Celio is gonna be able to throw, because normally they run Surf. So Body Slam, while spammy, not quite going to be enough here to do what it needs to do against this Dewgong, which is going to be able to throw these much heavier hitting drill runs. And Celio, not known for, well, it's not known for much. We never run Celio, man. We need more Celio. I love Celio. Celio's a fun mon. However, oh, the Turtonator comes in for the 1 HP dunk on this Claydol. Going to be able to get it. The opponent now is going to have to come up with a Celio, but we get to the Brutal Swing, and the Brutal Swing with that Incinerate should do it. Putting Celio down back in its Pokeball and taking the game win for the GreatRandino. Good game, well played. All right, we're going positive so far. Love to see it. Dusclops in this next game. Again, the Incinerate plus Brutal Swing combo is a very damaging one into the Ghosts. However, I do appreciate the Ember pacing. I've seen both sides, and I definitely appreciate both. Incinerate, it's just not for me, man. It's like, it's very clunky, and I don't like running it unless I have to. So, Oranguru comes in now, walling off this Ghost Energy. Well, not walling, but being able to resist the Ghost Energy. The opponent's going to pivot into this. Is that a Metang? That's a Bronzong. Okay, they go into the Bronzong here, and Bronzong has payback. It's, however, going to take quite a while to get to the payback, and in that time, Oranguru is able to toss off 2 Brutal Swings and get a shield. Now, the opponent's going to have to bait if they want to be able to fully outpace this Oranguru. Otherwise, they go for the pullback. They full send the payback. The opponent goes for it, gets the shield, but now it's going to take them a little while to wind back up to that payback. Brutal Swing, however, is going to be able to do quite a lot here, but the opponent might have another payback. You're going to go ahead and let this go, putting everything on the back of this Dewgong and Turtonator combo here. Dewgong comes in, gets ahead on energy. Dusclops is going to come in and look to throw some energy at this Dewgong before Dewgong can get to a charge move. Shadow Punch, not going to be doing a whole lot here, and the opponent's going to look to let loose another one, and I think Dewgong's very happy about that. That means that Turtonator's still pretty healthy and going to be able to come in and start getting an Incinerate farm down. The opponent only needs 2 hexes, though, to get to that next Shadow Punch, and they're going to be able to make it before that next Incinerate knocks out. But now, the Turtonator against the world, Dewgong comes in, and again, just very nice, knowing that they're stuck in that Incinerate fast move, not throwing the Incinerate right away, knows we can get to the Dragon Claw before the knockout of this Ice Shard. Turtonator putting in work today. Up a shield at the same or so HP, but the opponent has energy loaded as this Dewgong does, but I think that shield's going to make the difference here as the, go for the shield. All right, Drill Run gets shielded. The opponent needs 2 moves still to knock out. They do have a catch attempt available, and they're going to go ahead and overfarm, looking to try to make it so the opponent can't catch, but the opponent catches anyway. No!
Bruh.
And Drill Run is going to land on the Bronzong. Now the opponent has the opportunity to take this game, but is a Drill Run enough from here? No, it's not. I don't think so. It's just not enough because we saw how similar their HP was. It was like exactly the same, but now going for the Drill Run on the opponent's Dewgong, taking that game just barely. That was a close one. GreatRandino's Dewgong pulling it out, though. Really awesome team here. I think that this team and a few other variants of it, like I said, you can throw Gyarados in here in the mix as well. This is pretty much the meta, right? You've run any of these 4 Pokemon, and you're going to have a really good time as long as you can kind of adjust away from trying to play for alignment and more so try to play for energy and, you know, just getting a lot of other advantages aside from switch advantage, because you don't really need it in this cup. Let me know what you're running this week in the I keep wanting to call it the LAIC Cup, but it's Championship Cup. At least this version of it is. Let me know what you're running. I want to know what kind of sauce you guys are playing around with as I maybe look to try and play a little bit more of it myself. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.